Hello again. I'm Stuart Fauché with Adriatic Marine and Express Supply and Steel, and also your SCIA president. While the board and staff have been busy carrying out different avenues in this battle for our industry, we thought it'd be helpful to arm you with information, facts that you can use in your conversations to help spread the word and educate others on the industry and impacts of the moratorium. Leasing and drilling moratoriums are a huge threat to our nation's energy security and equate to unemployment of disastrous proportions in the Gulf Coast region and beyond. Additionally, the most significant and only recurring source of funding for coastal protection restoration would be drastically reduced, thereby gutting America's most expansive program of environmental and climate resilience. So let's break down these consequences. Number one, unemployment. Probably the one I have to say the least about because we all feel it. 1 million jobs are on the line, 48,000 of which are directly related to the moratorium and located here in Louisiana. The Bayou region is the host to most of those jobs. Number two, coastal protection and restoration. Revenues from the OCS, almost entirely generated through lease bids and all production revenues in the Gulf of Mexico, are the primary funding for the Land and Water Conservation Fund, LWCF, which funds conservation of national parks, local trails, and other popular environmental projects across the nation to the tune of over $1 billion per year. No activity equals no revenue. It is estimated that by 2022, the LWCF funding would collapse from approximately $1.3 billion per year to less than $300 million per year. The Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act, or GOMESA, directs 37.5% of OCS revenues generated through lease bids and production revenues to be distributed across the Gulf states where energy production occurs. These revenues are dispersed to the Gulf states as well as the individual counties and parishes in the coastal zones of those states. Disbursements of fiscal year 2019 OCS revenues to Gulf states included Texas receiving $95 million, Mississippi $51 million, Alabama $50 million, and Louisiana $155 million, which afforded us in the Bayou region the Bayou Chene floodgate, the Bayou Lafourche pump station, and levee system improvements. Number three, greenhouse gases and carbon emissions. Reduction in production in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico actually increases greenhouse gas emissions globally. The U.S. Gulf of Mexico produces less emissions per barrel than any other basin in the world because of our stringent regulations and voluntary efforts by operators to reduce their carbon footprint. Placing these lowest carbon barrels out of reach does not reduce demand. It only shifts demand to global producers with lower standards, higher carbon emissions, and forces us to sacrifice our energy security to import this higher carbon oil and ship it to our refineries and plants to continue to produce fuel and other products like masks and face shields, which are critical to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. SCIA continues to work with our local, state, and national leaders to get the word out about this costly mistake, a mistake that can easily be remedied. This Monday, SCIA hosted Congressman Scalise on a tour of one of our local fabrication yards to talk one-on-one with the workers, some of them being third-generation oil field workers, about the impact of the moratorium on their families and livelihoods. We then coordinated a lunch with the congressman, local officials, and company owners to discuss the bigger picture across the region, the state, and the nation. We ended the day with a webinar for our SCIA members with Congressman Scalise, whereby you were able to ask your questions and get them answered directly. Today, we'll be testifying at the Joint House Natural Resources and Environment Senate Natural Resource hearing. Also today, you will receive a template letter that we ask that you fill out and send back to the SCIA office, where we will compile a package of your letters to send to our delegation. There is strength in numbers, and we will continue to fight for you.